Federal Occupational Safety and Health Administration estimates that there are 68,000 accidents every year in the U.S. involving lift trucks. Of those, about 100 people are killed. Here's how the accidents break down in terms of causes. 25% are tip-overs. 18% include personnel struck by a powered industrial truck. 14% are personnel struck by a falling load. 12% are employees who have fallen off of elevated forks. 7% are lift trucks that have been run off loading docks or other surfaces. And 6% by improper maintenance. Lift truck accidents are very costly to companies as well. These costs include product and equipment damage, lost time, increased insurance premiums, and litigation costs. It is not uncommon for accidents to cost a company over $1 million. Some companies cannot survive the aftermath of such an accident, resulting in the company having to permanently close the doors. Federal OSHA requires that lift truck operators be authorized and trained. Such training consists of a combination of formal training, such as in a classroom, practical hands-on training, and an evaluation of the operator's performance in the workplace. The training shall cover truck-related and workplace-related topics. Government studies have shown that effective training programs improve lift truck operator safety performance. With proper training and the right attitude, we can improve safety. The program you are about to see was produced by Mitsubishi Caterpillar Forklift America in an effort to give you a better understanding of how to become a safe and professional lift truck operator. This course covers safe lift truck operation, how a lift truck operates, how to perform a pre-operational inspection, both walk-around and operational checks, safety guidelines for operating lift trucks, safe load handling techniques, the safety rules for refueling internal combustion lift trucks, and how to change and charge industrial batteries for electric-powered lift trucks. In the first part of this training program, we will answer these fundamental questions about lift trucks. What does it mean to be a professional? What are the responsibilities and obligations of a professional lift truck operator? Lastly, what parts of a lift truck must an operator know and understand? So what do we mean when we say he or she is a professional lift truck operator? To be a professional lift truck operator, a person must be recognized as someone who is responsible and knowledgeable. Responsible simply means someone who lives up to their obligations. They get to work on time, well rested, mentally alert, and ready to start work. If they need medication, they heed the warning labels on prescription and over-the-counter drugs that predict drowsiness. As a lift truck operator, you will be at the controls of a powerful piece of equipment. As a professional, you will be responsible for those workers around you, yourself, and your vehicle. Operating a lift truck safely and professionally is a big responsibility, and it's not easy. Not everyone has the mechanical aptitude, coordination, maturity, and desire to take on the demands and pressures of the job. If you are ever in doubt about your suitability to operate a lift truck, talk to your supervisor about the situation. Don't ever put others or yourself at risk. Operator inexperience and lift truck misuse can result in accidents that can cause injury, death, and financial loss. By being responsible, you can avoid accidents and contribute to the success of your company and the people you work with. In addition to being responsible, the professional is knowledgeable. The professional knows and follows the company rules concerning work, safety, traffic, and company operations. A professional also knows their equipment. This includes the lift truck he or she might operate and the protective clothing and equipment that must be worn. Your company may require you to wear specific personal protective equipment, such as hard hats and safety glasses. Follow all your company's requirements for personal safety equipment and clothing. Your company may also require you to remove all jewelry. Professionals have this knowledge because they have taken the time to learn about their vehicle's operation, capabilities, limitations, and maintenance needs. Information can be found in the Operation and Maintenance Manual, plus the warning and instruction decals on the truck itself. But beyond this, they are committed to constantly improving their abilities and to the idea that they must at all times operate their vehicles safely and under complete control. This training program is a start, but there is more required of you to do. Most of the general principles and precautions covered in this program apply to the safe operation of lift trucks in general. regardless of make, model, or year. But the importance of the information on the warning labels found on most lift trucks cannot be overemphasized. Improper operation or maintenance can result in injury or death. Do not operate or work on this truck unless you have been authorized and properly trained to do so. Lift trucks bear a number of warning labels and warning plates. A plate that bears "Danger" as its signal word indicates an imminently hazardous situation, which, if not avoided, will result in death or serious injury. A plate that bears "Warning" as its signal word indicates a potentially hazardous situation, which, if not avoided, could result in death or injury. A plate that bears "Caution" indicates a potentially hazardous situation, which, if not avoided, may result in minor or moderate injury. Know the ones on your vehicle as well as any warnings in the operation and maintenance manual, and follow them. This is an example of a typical operator's warning plate. It spells out specific warnings and calls for you to observe them. During this program, we are going to cover the warnings contained on the operator's warning plate and the vehicle's ratings and capacities contained on the capacity plate. Our next question is, what is a lift truck? First, let's understand the similarities to and the differences between driving a car and operating a lift truck. Just because you can drive a car doesn't mean you are qualified to operate a lift truck. You use your car for personal transportation, to get from one place to another over wide paved roads. When you drive a car, you follow the rules of the road to prevent accidents, and before you drive a car, you must be trained by taking a written and road test. Once you successfully pass, you receive a license to drive. Passengers are generally allowed, and the vehicle will typically not exceed 5,000 pounds in weight. Cars have a steering wheel, accelerator pedal, service and parking brakes, and an ignition system. They also have front wheel steering. A lift truck is not used for personal transportation to get from point A to point B. It has load handling functions such as lifting and tilting. Lift trucks can travel indoors over smooth surfaces, in and out of rail cars and tractor trailers, and in narrow aisles. They also travel outdoors over uneven surfaces where additional traction and greater underclearance is required. Lift trucks also have a steering wheel, an accelerator pedal, service and park brakes, and an ignition system. But, unlike a car, they steer from the rear. Typically, the lift truck exceeds 5,000 pounds in weight and is not equipped to accommodate passengers. And training is required before personnel can be considered qualified to operate a lift truck. An operator license is not required. There are many varieties of powered industrial trucks and material handling devices, including walking pallet movers and rider pallet stackers, narrow aisle units, and counterbalance sit-down rider-type lift trucks. The counterbalance sit-down rider-type lift truck are the focus of this training program. They are called counterbalanced units because the load is carried in the front of the vehicle and counterbalanced by the vehicle's own weight. Because they are so versatile, this type of truck accounts for 75% of all lift truck applications. This type of truck is available in a range of capacities from 2,000 pounds to 110,000 pounds, or 1,000 to 50,000 kilograms. What parts of a lift truck must an operator know and understand? Let's find out more about a lift truck by defining its parts and their functions. The forks, carriage, and load backrest extension engage the load and support it. The mast, it supports the forks, carriage, and load backrest extension and guides their vertical travel during lifting and lowering and consists of a set of channels called a stage. A lift truck can be equipped with a double, triple, or quad stage mast. Refer to your workbook for an exact description of these types of masts. There are also critical mast dimensions you should be aware of. These dimensions are overall height lowered, free fork height, maximum fork height, liftoff, and overall height raised. Let's take a few minutes to explain these critical dimensions. The overall height lowered dimension refers to the distance from the floor to the top of the mast when the forks are fully lowered. This dimension is especially important when driving through doorways. The height of the doorway must be higher than the mast's overall lowered height dimension, or the mast will hit the door overhead. The free fork height dimension refers to the distance the forks can be raised without increasing the overall lowered height of the mast. Free fork height dimensions can range from 4 inches for simplex masts to 60 inches for duplex, triplex, and quad masts. The dimension is especially important when working in confined spaces with a low ceiling height. An example of this is inside a tractor-trailer container. Material inside a container can be stacked 2 pallets high. In order to retrieve the top pallet, the operator must use a truck with a mast that has a sufficient free fork height dimension. Otherwise, the mast could go through this container's ceiling. The maximum fork height dimension refers to the distance from the floor to the top of the carrying surface of the forks when the mast is fully raised. This dimension is important because it lets the operator know how high he can stack pallets in a rack system. Closely associated with maximum fork height is the lift-off dimension. This dimension allows about 4 to 6 inches of additional lift height necessary to store and retrieve pallets in the top rack position. The overall height raised dimension is the distance from the floor to the top of the load backrest extension when the mast is fully extended. This dimension is critical, especially when the building has lights, air ducts, and sprinkler systems hanging from the ceiling. The directional control lever is used to engage the truck's transmission to travel forward, in reverse, or when the vehicle must be in neutral. Among manufacturers, the most popular design for direction control is a hand-operated lever found just at the left of the truck's steering wheel. Some manufacturers provide a foot pedal or directional control. Refer to your operation and maintenance manual for the proper operation of this feature. Lift cylinders provide the hydraulic power to raise and lower the mast, while tilt cylinders move the mast forward and back. Mast movements are controlled by the levers in the operator's compartment. There is a lever for raising and lowering the mast, tilting the mast, and operating the auxiliary hydraulic systems, such as a side shifter or a clamp. The drive axle transmits power to the drive wheels, which are in the front. The drive wheels also contain the brakes. The steer axle, located in the rear, directs the rear wheels in steering and gives the operator directional control of the truck. This feature gives a lift truck excellent maneuverability because the vehicle pivots on the front drive wheels. However, in a turn, the rear end swings out and around outside the drive wheel path. As an operator, you must be aware of obstacles behind you, otherwise you could cause damage to property and products, as well as injury to yourself and others. The overhead guard helps protect the operator from falling objects. The operator restraint system helps keep the operator inside the confines of the vehicle in the event of a tip-over. This means the operator must always use the lift truck's restraint system. Part of the truck's safety system includes the presence detection system. This PDS system includes features that disengage the transmission and lock out truck hydraulics when the operator leaves the seat of the truck while the truck is running. PDS also includes a 30-second seatbelt audible alarm and a reminder icon on the truck's display. Finally, the system includes an audible alarm when the operator leaves the truck without engaging the truck's park brake. Other parts of the truck include the counterweight. This feature offsets the loads that are to be carried, the fuel port, and the engine battery compartment. In addition to understanding the load handling features of a lift truck, you must also understand tire design. Trucks are designed for either solid or pneumatic tires. Solid tires, also called cushion tires, are primarily for indoor work on finished surfaces that are dry and level. These tires are compact and make the truck highly maneuverable, which is ideal for working in aisles and congested areas. Cushion tire trucks also retain lifting capacity better than pneumatic tired trucks. The same compact design becomes a disadvantage, however, when the operator has to travel over imperfect surfaces. Their narrow design and small contact area provide less traction. Therefore, an operator must exercise caution when traveling over uneven surfaces and should avoid slippery areas. If you have to operate on poor surfaces or outside, stay on level pavement, reduce speed, and avoid all ground debris. The word pneumatic means filled with air. The trucks that have pneumatic tires can operate in or out of doors over any solid base surface. Their larger dimensions provide better traction over slippery surfaces and offer increased ground clearance. These types of tires can either be air or solid filled. Solid pneumatic tires provide advantages when operating in yard applications littered with debris that could potentially cause a flat tire. Although, because they are typically wider and have a longer wheelbase, their turning radius is far greater than that of the trucks designed for solid or cushion type tires. This is the end of Part 1. Please review the information you have been given and complete Part 1 of your workbook. When you are done, resume your training by watching Part 2 of this program.